hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Yeah.
Welcome again to Straight Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. And on Straight Talk, we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside.
Paget Maynard.
Okay, man, we got a lot to cover. But tomorrow they have more of this January 6th thing going on. So what you see right now?
Well, it's made a huge difference in impressions of the American public, first of all,
Okay.
on what actually happened on January 6th and who's at fault and who's culpable. That's the first thing. Tomorrow's hearing is going to be more about the conspiracy between the executive and the legislative branch of the GOP conspiring with some of these militant brown shirt type groups.
Mm-hmm.
The Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, among others, are going to have their plans and they're conspiring with elected officials brought into focus and made plain to the American people.
Okay.
We've seen some remarkable hearings so far. Each one seems to be more compelling than the next.
Mm-hmm.
I was just reading today, unfortunately, the young woman Hutchinson who came forward and talked about the White House and some of the higher placed officials in the White House circuit, what they did and what their plan was for January 6th,
Mm-hmm.
and how it wasn't just a bunch of people who got out of control,
Right.
how it was all coordinated.
Mm-hmm.
She is now under death threats to the point
Yes,
that
yes.
she's actually in hiding now.
Yeah.
So that shows you how strong this propaganda effort has been, because, you know, last time we met, we talked about how illiterate American people are. 40% don't read above a 6th grade level,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones who do don't read.
Right.
I call them illiterate. They can read, they just don't.
Right.
But it shows you how powerful this narrative is, because when you see it in campaign ads,
Mm-hmm.
you had one Republican running for the House, I forget which state, but he was walking around with a gun talking about he's running for rhinos.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
There's no limit, and there's no bag limit,
Yeah.
and your license never expires.
Yeah.
I mean, he's calling for violence.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
You see so-called news organizations running lies and creating lies
Oh, yeah.
to the point that they're now facing down an almost $2 billion lawsuit, which could bankrupt them. And I hope it does. And that's with the voting machine manufacturer.
Right.
So, you know, the idea that these January 6 hearings were unnecessary or
Yeah.
superfluous,
Yeah.
that's gone the way of the
Yeah.
dinosaur. People are watching them. They're watching them like it's a NBA Finals game or an NCAA championship
Yeah.
games. They're compelling.
Yeah.
People are interested, and they're changing minds.
Yeah.
And that's the good
Yeah.
news.
And Dennis, tomorrow you're gonna hear the White House attorney, I can't call his name,
Cipollone.
Cipollone, whatever his name. He, I understand, has actually corroborated with much of what that young woman said.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I felt she was very honest and truthful when she was speaking.
Yeah.
And now here is somebody else coming out saying, indeed, yes, this is what happened. And she was talking the truth. Not only him, there are others who are, there's supposed to be another young woman tomorrow who is going to also say the same thing. She also is getting threats, death threats.
Well, you know, the thing is that all these people, the people so far, most of them has been Republican and who has been people who work for Trump. Now they all coming out saying the same thing, you know, and it's like it would be something else. Somebody, one or two of them had said, "Oh, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that," but they coming out and saying the same thing, you know. And you were saying now the people are in hiding. Hey,
well, you know, to not to put a too fine a point on it, but they've all been Republicans, with the exception of the two women who were the election workers in Georgia who talked about how their lives had been turned upside down for having the temerity to volunteer in the democratic process, as we've offered, as we've encouraged people to do since the time. You know, my ex-wife used to volunteer as a poll worker. My mother used to volunteer as a poll worker.
Sisters.
Yeah, it's one of those American attributes that we're supposed to be proud of.
Oh, yes.
And now you're getting people who are getting death threats because they volunteered and they wouldn't go along with the lie. And even further than that is you're starting to see Republicans. Well, before I say they're Republicans, you're starting to see more and more people come forward and say, listen, I've got a story to tell. That's the reason why we had that delay at the end of June, where we were supposed to have one more hearing at the end of June, and they delayed it to the first week of July. Because they're having more and more, they say it's coming out like a fire hose. People are starting to talk. And from everything that I've read, they're coming from the right side of the aisle. They're coming from inside the White House and inside of Congress, and they're saying, I've got a story to tell. And it's compelling enough that the January 6th committee says, you know what, we're going to accommodate you. And that's how that young lady that you were just speaking of, who worked alongside Hutchinson, is going to be one of the guests tomorrow. Now, we don't know if Cipollone testimony is going to be presented tomorrow. We know they taped it last Friday, July 8th.
Some of it
and
for
it
sure.
could be, but we know it will be.
Some of it for sure.
And now we also have Steve Bannon, the arrogant criminal who is such a criminal. He got convicted, was facing prison, and the corrupt President Trump gave him a pardon, and he went right back to commit more crimes and run his mouth, and now he's in deeper water than he was before, and now he wants to come forward and talk.
No.
He's not looking for.
He isn't trying to come forward and talk.
Yes, he is.
I know what you're saying. He is not really coming to talk the truth. He is trying to find a way to create disturbance and problems in the hearings. He wants to be live on TV.
He won't be.
And all of that.
He won't be.
He has a case going on right now. And all of a sudden Trump is giving him clearance to talk. He didn't have any presidential, didn't need any kind of clearance because he was not a member of the government.
So
when
there was
this
no
went on.
attorney-client privilege.
No privilege.
I don't think that's why he's coming forward. He knows he didn't have privilege. Trump knows it. Well, Trump, he doesn't know.
Well,
Trump doesn't know how
they
to add
acted
to
it
file.
out. They said it.
Pardon?
They were acting it out. They were saying it. But
I'm
going to come down to the fact
I'm talking
that
about what they knew. He knew he didn't have attorney-client privilege. He knew that. He used that as a ruse, but now that it's hitting the fan, he wants to get to your earlier point. He does want to get his narrative out there, but he's just not going to be out there and get to play Jim Jordan and overtalk people and interrupt people and bring up red herrings and irrelevancies and non sequiturs. No, he's going to have to answer questions under oath, and it won't be televised live. The same thing that they told others.
Right.
You're not like they told the Proud Boy leader. I forget the Dominican.
He wants to go live.
The Proud Boy. No, you're not going to come up here and make a charade of this. We're going to put you under oath. You can sit next to the attorney. You can have them on both sides. You can have 10 in back of you. But you're going to answer the questions that we ask.
Yeah. That's right.
And it's going to be on film and it's going to be documented, and we will present that. It's not going to be a clown show.
Exactly.
So Bannon, I think, is attempting to squirm out of this legal
Yeah.
jeopardy that he's in.
Yeah.
And Trump, you know, the idea that Trump writes his letter and says, I'm going to let you testify is laughable. Trump knows, well, he's been
Look.
told rather that he has no type of
We know.
client privilege with this man. So your letter to Bannon freeing him up to testify is just a ruse.
Right.
It means nothing.
Right.
Well, you see, that was their thing, to let the people think that Trump was so magnanimous. He's giving him, he has nothing to hide. Go ahead, tell them. It's far from the truth. It's the exact opposite. Trump is so scared right now. Matter of fact, he has every reason to be scared, because for all that we know already, he should not be walking the streets.
Oh,
he should be in prison.
Well,
And I think you're absolutely right. What he said, being magnanimous, I'm going to let you tell me, you really don't have much of a
Yeah.
choice. But he said that last, Wednesday?
yeah.
Today's Monday.
Yeah.
By the time Bannon gets done testifying, he's not going to be so magnanimous then. he's going to be real shook. And again, it's just him bluffing. It's just him trying to play big man.
And the thing is, other thing is the man from New York was governor.
Oh, my Rudy.
Yeah. And
He's mayor of New York City.
yeah. Now they are saying that they're thinking about, last week, they were thinking about bringing him in, putting him up on the oath.
They
So-
just might.
Well,
Well, you know he is called in Georgia.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
subpoenaed in Georgia.
Yeah.
Trump was subpoenaed
Yeah.
in Georgia.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's another case where they are in serious legal jeopardy.
But
These are
Trump is
felony
trying to
crimes
go
that
to
they're being
court to avoid
investigated
going. He
Yeah.
can't get out of that.
on. No, it's too
Well,
late.
you know, I heard somebody talking a few days ago. If they don't do anything to Trump, and you said this, Patrick.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
have no qualm saying it.
you should-
If Trump doesn't go to
You
prison,
said they should let everybody.
all the people in prison now should be released.
Okay.
Well, speaking of Brittany Grind, who's
Yeah.
in prison in
Russia.
Russia, they should let everybody in jail right now on a marijuana conviction out.
Out.
It's completely legal in almost every state in the union. The federal government is behind for whatever reason, but it's unjust, and it certainly should not be a crime to possess marijuana in this day and age. So before the United States citizens get their back up too much about Russia, let's look at my nephew and niece and cousin and friend who's in jail because they got caught with a bag of dope sometime at a concert
Yeah.
or coming home or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the second point.
Yeah. So, but they're saying if they don't do anything to him, how would the other parts of the world look at us? But they're saying if they do, how would the world, how would other countries look at us? So, what is it, Patrick?
But look what happens locally. Forget the rest of the world. Trump supporters, if they do anything to him, they're going to want to rise up and have another revolution here. If they don't do anything to him, they're going to be gloating all over the place. I told you they couldn't do him nothing and blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to try again
Yeah, that's what I was just
to
gonna
do the
say.
same thing. And it's going to be worse than the first time.
You know what they call a failed coup that goes unpunished? Let me add that in. Let me ask again. You know what they call a failed coup that goes unpunished?
Go ahead.
Rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have got
They
to
had
go to
the
jail.
rehearsal.
Yeah.
There has to be repercussions, serious repercussions. Otherwise, you're putting the entire government in jeopardy.
They're going to do it again.
Trump, Giuliani, Bannon, the Oath Keeper
Yeah.
leader, what's his name? Stewart, something.
I don't even know his name,
the-
man, but
all
of them.
Giuliani, they got to go.
Yeah.
They have to have their day in court, and then they have to be found guilty based on the evidence, and then they have to be in prison based on the felony that they committed and were convicted of.
In
If you don't do that, you don't have a government.
No.
In 1917, shortly after Trump became president, there was something went down that I think was you, Dennis, who talked about. And I raise the question, doesn't that rise to the level of treason?
Are you talking about the July 4th, 2017?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I recall raising the question. So whatever it was enough for me to raise that question. And nothing happened then to him. He went now and he went deeper, coordinating stuff with these other folks.
Yep.
And like you say, they had the rehearsal.
Yeah, and getting
And I'll tell you this much. They are still depending on him to run in 24.
Yeah.
He is throwing out hints about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But if justice is done, he wouldn't even be a free man in 24.
Oh. Huh.
Well, you know, that's what I'm gonna wait around to see, man, because you've got, and everybody who can think at all knows this man should be in jail, you know. Just on what they got right now, you know, all the different things that they running into, he said, he did, and all that.
You say everybody?
Well, I'm just saying, you know. Right, everybody who's thinking, who knows that he should be in jail.
Well, here's where you are. You got that 30% that's hardcore Trumpanzines.
Yeah.
He said it himself. He could walk down Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and he'd never be found guilty.
Right.
They're not moving.
No.
And then you've got this 40% over here who are more or less progressive. Okay? And they vote and they lean leftwards.
Okay.
That leaves this mysterious group in the middle, 25-30% of Americans who call themselves independent. They voted for Obama.
Yeah.
And then they voted for Trump in 16. Now, those people are a complete mystery to me. I don't know how you could be in one election pro-Obama and the next election pro-Trump. That's a mystery to me, but leave that as it may. Those people are the ones who are being moved dramatically by the January 6 hearings, and they're coming out against Trump. So I think when you look at the repercussions of what he's done, they're finally starting to become something that he's going to have to pay a price for. You're seeing it now. So I think at this point, once the hearings are done, and God bless the committee. They said, you know, initially we thought we'd be done with this in July.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it may go into August, and if we need to, we're going to leave them open indefinitely. We may have hearings in September, October, November. Now think back to the Benghazi hearings. Think back.
4 years.
They went on for month after month, year after year.
Millions of dollars.
Clinton testified for 11 straight hours with no attorney. Only time she took a break was to drink water. And they couldn't lay a finger on her because truth was on her side.
Exactly.
It was all a big show. So they could say on Fox, Benghazi, breaking news. You know, it's all a ruse to keep that middle, mysterious, undecided voter leaning to the right because, you know, Hillary, you know, she got emails. Hillary got emails in Benghazi. I don't know what happened, but something, because they're talking about it all the time. And then, damn it, Trump becomes president. And we see the things that Hillary Clinton was accused of doing, using her private email for official business, being done by Kushner, being done by Trump's daughter, being done by both of Trump's special needs sons, being done by Trump himself, and they don't say a word about it because the standard isn't there. The standard means nothing. It's the ability to stick something to somebody that's meaningless. So now, I think when you start to see chapter and verse on what's been done, and people remember somehow that they're supposed to be patriots, we may see something that looks like justice coming out of this thing.
Yeah. You were saying, Patrick?
Yeah, well, I think Dennis came there, was going to bring up the Benghazi, and that thing went on. I know they spent millions of dollars.
Well, it went on for years.
And every time they had a hearing, it came out with the same result. Nothing they could touch her with because, as a matter of fact, the Republicans who were pushing these things, they are the very people who were preventing her getting funds to provide more for the people in Benghazi so that they would have been better protected.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It wasn't an embassy, it was a consulate.
Mm.
And Hillary Clinton was one of the Democrats who voted for increased protection and funding for not only the embassies, but the consulates in remote areas, particularly in North Africa, where Libya is, where Benghazi is, when you keeping track at home. But of course, the Republicans voted against that, almost again unanimously. So when it hit the fan and people died, I think we had 2, maybe 3 U.S. contractors die at Benghazi. The Republicans jumped all over it.
The ambassador?
And smartly, depending on the ignorance of the American people, they were able to get the. You still have people to this day will say Hillary Clinton Benghazi, Hillary Clinton emails, and they don't even know what it means. They just associate the two. But you could take the same exact set of facts and apply them to Twitler, and they're looking at you like, why are you talking about that? Who cares about that? That's not a big deal. Okay.
You know, for me, for the last 40, 50 years, I've known and I've thought that the American people, some of them are the most dumbest people here because they think they know.
Arrogant. Arrogant.
You know.
That's the thing that bothers me. It's not so much that we're any less or more informed than anyone else in the world. It's that we're so arrogant about it. I'm an American. You know, I had this conversation with this guy years ago, and you may have been there because it was at the Y. And he's talking about we're the greatest country in the world, and I simply asked him, it's measured by what? Is it measured by number of children who graduate high school? Is it measured by our standard of living? Is it measured by access to health care? Is it measured by job performance? I mean, tell me, because all those things I just listed, we're way down the list. We're way down the list. Maybe there was one time we used to be number one, but we haven't been that for a long time. So what I'm speaking to when I talk to this guy is I'm speaking to his hubris. I'm speaking to his arrogance. I'm speaking to his xenophobic attitude that nothing could possibly be better than what we have here. When, you know, you go to France, you go to Belgium, you go to many parts of Africa. People have two cars in the garage and 3 meals at home and a pretty good life. And we're not unique. In fact, we trail when it comes to access to higher education, access to quality education, access to health care, access to quality food when you live in certain areas. I mean, you could go on down the line. You go to the Bible Belt, you know, where they're supposed to be so Christian. Alcoholism, drug addiction, divorce, child abuse, pedophilia. If you measure those, the percentage of people who commit those type of crimes invariably are higher in the Bible Belt than they are in the Midwest and the West, where all the liberals are. You know, but again, it's that hubris, it's that arrogance that says I'm better than you because I'm an American. All right, man. Okay.
And then other night I was watching a show, I forget the name, but it was on PBS. And one guy, they was talking about actually they mentioned and then they showed somebody. Anyway, the guys who was at the Capitol breaking in and going on with these flags. And one guy was trying to say these old rebel flags, what it meant to him and what it meant to a lot of people. And the thing is that if you really don't get down to it, it meant y'all were losers.
Well, not only that, they lost. They got their butts kicked. But I look at that Confederate flag the exact same way my Jewish brothers and sisters look at the swastika. It means mass murder. It means a loss of my God-given inalienable rights. It means that. It means total disrespect for me and my people. And I'm supposed to just say, fly that flag and carry it into the Capitol and put it on your pickup truck, and I'm just supposed to ignore it. I don't see my Jewish brothers and sisters ignoring that swastika. God bless them. They stand strong together. And I admire that. But we need to have that same attitude when it comes to that Confederate flag, because it means the exact same thing. You're talking about when you're talking about the Confederate flag, you're talking about something that endorses a Holocaust.
Oh yeah.
The murder of 60 to 100 million Africans under that flag.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that it's just some kind of benign political statement that you're making, meaning I want to. I had a brother arguing with me about states' rights and how the states who wanted to outlaw abortion have the states' rights, states' rights, states' rights. And he's got his little amen corner, all yeah. And I asked him, I said, the states' right argument, you know that was used by the Confederates, the Confederacy, the southern states, to justify their secession from the Union. You know that was their argument for justifying enslaving Africans. So, it was their right to. So you stand by state rights? I heard crickets. Didn't say a word back. Because you can't, you got to be consistent, man. If you stand on it, be about it. And if you can't be about it 100%, it must not mean something that you can really stand on.
Dennis, it goes back to something you said earlier this evening.
Much time we got?
They don't know. They're not reading.
2 minutes.
You know?
Yeah.
And therefore, they just grab on to something that's being said, but don't know the background. It's like you asking me something about me, my family, and I tell you one little piece of thing. I give you my name, and you ready to tell me a whole set of things about me and my family, which you don't know. Well, and that's basically what they're doing.
Well, you know, we about out of time, but
we still got 2 minutes.
So overall, what do you think going to come out of this hearing? And you mentioned earlier that it might go on through, through
God knows.
September, October.
Well, they said
they're willing
certainly
to
going
go
into August, where before they thought it was going to end at June 9th and June rather, before the end of June. And the reason why they said is we have a fire hose of information coming in. People are just stepping up where before they wouldn't. And we've got to go through the information they're presenting to us and listen to what they have to say and decide whether or not we're going to swear them in and have them testify. And that takes time. But the good news is people are either feeling compelled to do it because they know it's the right thing, or probably the more plausible reason is they're saying if Miss Hutchinson can step up and speak, and now you've got Cipollone stepping up to speak, and all these other people are coming out speaking.
Pressure.
I've got enough cover that I can come out and say what needs to be said too.
That comes down to the risky shift. More and more people doing it, so it's easier for me to do it now. And it's a good thing in this case because a lot of stuff is coming out that we would not have known. And indeed. Right now what is coming out is at the crux of the whole thing, right in that Oval Office.
And again, our time is about up for tonight, but we could go on and on with that because the hearing is tomorrow. Again, the hearing is tomorrow, and we'll know more and more about it. But that's all for tonight. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and we catch you right down in the next block for more Street Talk. Peace.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.